Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Fly Nubian Money, where we help you master your mindset and maximize your money. My name is Tiara Williams. I'm also known as Miss Black Hollywood. And welcome to the show. It's Hump Day. Happy Wednesday. We are almost over the hump of the week. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Today we are talking about a story that went viral after a woman posted a video, a photo. I want to get the photo for y'all so y'all can see what's going on. She posted a photo of her smiling, a selfie in the courthouse celebrating her divorce. What surprised a lot of people is that she also revealed that she voluntarily gave up full custody of her children to their father. Her comments sparked an online debate about motherhood, parenting, and how society reacts when traditional roles change. Today, we're discussing parenting responsibility, custody decisions, and how people respond when family situations don't look like they expected. So I'm having this conversation. Obviously, I can't have it by myself. I'm having it with the greatest and the best and the smartest and the prettiest queens on the planet. I am joined today by Dr. Angeline Dean, a systems disruptor. I have Dr. Felice, Hightower-Britt, our resident therapist, but also the Be Big coach. I have Dominique Morgan, who is an RN and a real estate queen. I also have Renee Williams, who is a clinical research study strategist. So I got all the right queens. I got baby mamas and mamas and married mamas, and so they can answer all these questions for us. And so I want to get this conversation started. I'll start with you, Dr. Angeline. Well, I'll ask all the queens. This is just let's just do a round table. How many of you all saw the story? That's the first question, just two part. And then how did it make you? How did you react to that? How did you feel about this? Seeing this young lady.
So I did not. So hello, everyone. I'm glad to be here. I did not see the story, but when I was listening, I just thought about I needed more. I need a little more information. The
Mhm.
picture that I saw actually looked like she had two boys, right? So I was trying to look at that as
Oh,
well.
you know what? Those aren't her kids. I just kind of put that because they kind of look like her. It's a
Oh,
little boy.
okay, okay,
It's a thumbnail. It's a thumbnail. I don't know what her babies look like,
okay.
but I just you know what I mean. I just put some kids on the side because
Okay, no
you know.
worries, no worries. So, but you know what? Hey, who am I to judge what she did? That might have been in the best interest of her right now. I don't know where her mind is. I don't know where her thoughts are right now. And as one who comes from a family where my grandmother was cited for having over 200 foster children, I
Mm,
saw the after effects, and my parents, my aunts, all of them had foster children of what happened when families or parents didn't release custodies, what could happen to the children. So I need a little more information before I
all
really
right,
give a whole
all
thought.
right, all right. Okay, I got you. Well, this is the warm up, so that's good. You'll get all the information today. Felice, what are your thoughts? What were your just initial thoughts about this? When you saw the picture and the selfie, what did it make you think?
So I didn't hear about this prior to this. So you are always keeping me trendy and up to date with all that's going on out here. Kudos to you.
I tried.
But I didn't I really didn't feel any kind of way, honestly. And it just really signaled to me where women as a whole in society has evolved to,
Mm,
whereas women have evolved to a space where it is about them. And so, like, is it my right to judge where we've evolved to? I know how I feel. I do subscribe to a more traditional way, but this is not where women are. Like, women have come a long way, and it looks like women are taking a step back and saying, hey, this is where I'm at. This is my capacity, and I'm okay. And obviously, she's okay with what she did because she did it on social media where she knows that is a space, a very opinionated space. And so
mhm.
she must be okay with it. And so she okay, I'm okay.
You okay? I'm okay. I'm gonna come to you, Dominique, because I know that I don't want to tell your business. I want you to tell your business, but I know the way you grew up, right? And so I'm really interested in hearing your perspective on what this mother said.
So when I did see it, and when I saw it, I was like, good for you.
Mm,
Because in all honesty, being with the mother is not always the best thing. And being a product of someone that was given up by their mother, I feel like I turned out great. And I feel like it was in the best interest of my mother's children to let our father raise us. So I think that she may have put that post out, and I don't know, but I think she may have put that post out because even when you have these conversations, women are made to feel bad for making the best decision. We're not saying that she's not going to be a part of their lives. She's just saying, hey, you can have them. Maybe, mentally, emotionally, financially, she's not the best person for the role. And so she made the decision to do what was in the best interest of her children, which means that if I'm just the weekend parent and I'm letting them go where they have stability and they have what they need, then it's okay. So good for her. And I'm glad that women are making these decisions, because just because we're mothers doesn't always make us the best choice for a parent,
mm.
the primary parent.
The primary parent, based off of her response, I'm not, I would question to know how old she is. And true, I don't know how many children she has, but I'm assuming she has more than one. She said these kids, so they have more than one child. And so, Renee, her saying like, I'm leaving this marriage like I came into it without no kids. See y'all on the weekends. Like, what does that make you think? Like, what? I mean, I question the maturity of it, but just around Robin, had you heard of the story before I get into? Because I want to talk about this. What were your thoughts, and how did it make you feel seeing the photo?
Well, I have a similar situation, just like Dominique. My grandfather actually raised me because my mother passed away when I was 9. However, his wife left him a long time ago before that. And the fact that he just stepped in and said, okay, I'm going to take care of her children, other than the grandmother doing it. So I'm on the same, where men step in and you're there for, there, and very nurturing and doing what they can. So as far as the mother on that perspective, my mother, because, she was it was the 80s. So we know what some of the parents were in the 80s, right? So if she would have stepped away, at that time, I wish she would have stepped away before it got to the point where she had, because of her decisions, she is now unalive. But had she stepped away maybe and got some mental help and drug addiction help, then I would have applauded her eventually in my life, because she would have made that decision that she couldn't do that. She couldn't take care of her kids. And so she, let the father take care of the kids. And I think that's a honorable thinking strategy thing to say, hey, I'm going to give my kids to the father. Well, who's best to take care of my children is the father. You lay down with the father so you can let him take care of your kids too. So that's my opinion.
I love that. And thank you, lady. Thank you for sharing that, because I know that is extremely deep. And, so I just want to thank you for sharing that with us. But it makes me want to get a poll of who's in the room with me. Felice, did you grow up with both of your parents?
So my dad eventually left my mom like when I was about 7 or 8. And so no.
Okay. So you were raised by a single mother.
Single mom.
A single mom. Dr. Angeline, were you raised by both of your parents? Did you tell me that? Did you say that?
Yes, I was.
Okay, perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And then little old me, of course, I was raised without my parents at all, right? So I come from a situation where I was very young, was taken away from my mother because of, at the time, she did have a drug addiction, and my father was also addicted to drugs. And so shout out to the 80s and the crack epidemic, right? And so it really took a village to raise me. Like all of my family, I moved in with my great grandmother and my mother, and so I think it's different when you have a you have a family and uncles and different mentors you can draw from different people. So I think that's interesting. So it's good to know what we have in the room. Let's watch the first video. And for everyone in the comments, please like weigh in. What were your thoughts when you're first if you're hearing about it for the first time? Let us know what you think. Is it right? Is it wrong? Does this make her a bad mom? Like on the internet said all of the things. But let's look at the first video just to break it down and lay some foundation for the story. Because I just think it's important that we know what's going on. All right. I'm on the ones and twos today
divorce
as
court
well.
smiling after giving her ex full custody. He's a single mom, not me. And here's the message I believe she sent to the mother-in-law. Felicia, your son didn't win custody. I gave him custody. I leave with what I came with, and I ain't come with no kids. I'll see them on the weekends. What I find most interesting about this post is the amount of men and women throwing up, crying, sliding on the wall, and fighting the air, tripping over themselves to call her a bad mom because she's only seeing her children on the weekend. But men do it all the time, and they're not labeled bad fathers. And the trend that I've been seeing a lot lately is men asking for full custody because they think that's going to be easier than actually raising the children. And I say let them figure that out the hard way. I just made a video about this man who was complaining that he has to work overtime every week because that's what he has to do in order to pay his $1,500 a month child support for his 5 kids. And that's an average of $300 per child. And any woman would take that deal. $300 for somebody else doing all the cooking, the cleaning, the child rearing, doing all the laundry, helping with the homework and the bath time, the PTA meetings, going to all their extracurricular activities. Some of you men don't know how good you have it. That little check ain't nothing for the freedom that you get. So now women are pulling that Uno reverse and saying, no, I'll pay the child support, you get the kids. And now it's a problem. Maybe it's the ladies' turn to start showing up at these men's house at midnight saying they just want to see their son, wanting to know whose car that is in the driveway. Maybe it's the ladies' turn to say that you bought those new Jordans with her $300 she gave you a month for child support. Maybe it's the ladies' turn to start saying that she don't want no other woman around her son.
Well, that's a perspective, right? It's so interesting because I say this all the time. I thank God for my daughter's father. Like I couldn't imagine having to do all the things. Like as we co-parent very well. Like we work as a community to raise our baby. We do 7 days on, 7 days off. But also like if anybody needs anything, it's just like, he'll also come to the house and like do homework with her, or he'll stop by to like bring her stuff, or he just doesn't miss anything. So for that, I am extremely grateful because I just couldn't imagine it, right? Like I know I shout out to all the women doing it alone, but like when I'm even like when I have her, when he's like, oh, I need you to do extra, I'd be like, ooh, I need my little days, child. I need to drop, so I'm gonna start with you, Felice. Women do when they talk about like kind of carrying or shouldering all the responsibilities. What do you think of that when, the flip, what do you think of what she just said? Like women are saying like, you take it, you do it.
And I think, honestly, I want to go way back and say, where did these roles come from? You know what I mean? Like, because the first cooks in the Bible were men. I think men can possibly be better cooks than us. I think men pay more attention. They're not multitaskers like we are. Like we think we can do it all in one setting, and men are like, look, I'm gonna take this one thing at a time, work on it, get this done well. And so like they watch their food when they're in the kitchen. Whereas I'm in the kitchen and I'm like, what else can I do in this time while the egg is boiling? You know what I mean? So it's like, I think men pay up more attention to things and to details. So I'm like, I think that it can be fluid. I think that who came up with women are supposed to do this and be that, when honestly it can come in and out. So I'm okay with men playing more of a role in disciplining. I'm okay with them being more of a role in the kitchen and different things like that. And so who came up with this stuff? And so I think if we can allow ourselves to be like, what are your strengths? And so it looked like in that picture, she looked really young and possibly, if I was to judge, possibly immature. So she probably did the right thing by saying he may be the person who's the right choice for our kids to be with on a primary basis. And so I think it's okay. And I think if we kind of let go of what these roles need to look like and cater more to the individual strengths, and co-parent from that sense, I think that is more ideal for the children, and also modeling for them what that could look like for them. Like, pay attention to the strengths and possibly have partnerships with our romantic partners based upon strengths than necessarily roles.
Yeah, I love that. Dominique, I'm coming to you because you know, as a married queen, right? And obviously you've been married for a very long time. When you all started to have your children, you know, what is there like a balance? Do you guys do what Dr. Felice said, and like just do things based on strengths? Like, how do you manage who does what in your household?
So we don't do it based on strengths. So what I would say is when the kids were younger, I was more active. Now that the kids are older, my husband, well, we have a grown daughter, but he has taken more of the role. So when they were little, like I did all the things. Now I don't really, like my son, I don't have to take him to his extracurricular activities. My daughter, he actually took her on her college tour because I wasn't able to be there. So when they were younger, it was me. I did all the things with the kids. But now that they're, once they start getting older and, they're able to talk and, go to the bathroom on their own, he took on more of a role. Plus, when our kids were younger, I was still working in the hospital as a nurse. So I was working 12-hour shifts. So he was forced, to be involved because I'm working 12 hours, And so now, again, they're older. He takes more of a role in what's going on with them. He's registering for football and doing all those things that I did when they were younger. He's taking them to doctor's appointment. And I'm honestly, I say I'm kind of an empty nester, because our kids are older. Our son is in high school. We raised our kids to be super independent. So they don't rely on us as much, because they do their own thing. Our son can walk home from school. And I think that's an advantage of having, the father involved. I was talking to my daughter last night and she was talking about her friend, and she was saying how her friend didn't have a father to teach him how to do things with cars and things like that. And my son can change doorknobs. He puts stuff together. He can change a tire. Like those things really matter, when it comes to men and, raising children. Men are so important to me when it comes to the children. And I'm not disregarding women. And we also have to change the narrative too, that it's something wrong with the mother because the child goes with the father. It doesn't have to be anything wrong. It could just be in the best interest. For instance, if me and my husband weren't together at a certain point, I feel like my son should go with his father. I can't teach a boy to be a man. And if he has a father that is willing to participate and take on that active role, I would. And he's a good person. He has a great moral compass. He's going to do right by the child. I'm going to let my child go. Because at the end of the day, that father's not going to hurt that child. That child can be harmed in our presence too. And so for us to feel like we have to have all this control over our children because we birthed them, it's not, again, in the best interest of the child. And we have to change the narrative. Again, I'm going to say it again. Just because a mother lets a child go with their father does not mean that there is something wrong with her. It may just be in the best interest of the child.
Yeah, I love that. And it is, we're living in a society that happens to, the way we look at mothers is like the mother nurtures, the mother does this, and this should happen, and the mother should do that. And sometimes, even in my own personal situation, I'd be like, her daddy got that. Her daddy, I find myself being like, oh, you got it. Cool. Like, like it feels better to have that. And that's what our children definitely, they need that. They need, I think, both sides of the spectrum. Like they need the nurturing, but they also need, my Lauren is her father is very logical in certain ways, and he's very like he sees things a certain way, like structure. Like men have, I'm not saying that I don't have structure, but I'm a creative, right? I'm a little bit more flexible with her. She'd be like, I'm not feeling well. I'd be like, okay, babe, go lay down. Well, just talk to your teacher about doing this, your work tomorrow. He'd be like, nah, she got to do her work. I don't care if she's sleepy, she's tired, get up and do your work. I'd be like, your dad said you got to get up, so it's that, Renee, when you were raising your son, like how did you and the father approach that? If there, what, I don't know what the situation was, but
Every other weekend.
It was
And
every
I
other
couldn't
weekend.
wait till I had my weekends. It was a blessing, okay, to get that rest. And I was always looking forward to those weekends. So, and and definitely, and when it came to a point where he was at that with that 13, 14, where he knew everything and he was towering over me and all that stuff. Bam, you were at your dad's. I dropped him politely off. And, I saw some women were like, some of my friends, like, really? Did you? Yes, really. No conversation, no nothing. I dropped him off. And you know what? He's a better guy. He's a better man because I knew when I can only do so much for him. So I have to let go and let his father do the rest for a point. And then he came back home. And then it was not that towering over me and talking back. So, you have to know, we have to have our dynamics in what we do in the structure of the family.
Yeah, yeah. Now, Dr. Angeline, I know you don't have children, correct? You don't have children. So I'm going to ask you this just from your own personal experience, but having both of your parents in the home, in what ways do you think you were greatly influenced by having your like, obviously, I know this goes without saying, but in what ways can you think about how your father impacted your life versus how your mother impacted your life?
My father is still my best friend today. My dad, not my father, my dad, my homeboy, my people's, like, that's how we get down, right? And I just remember growing, not that my mom didn't do what she had to do, but I just remember even growing up, like, our house was the house that you came to. Like, all the neighborhood kids, our house was the Kool-Aid house, the snack house, the whatever you wanted house. But I remember when we would have slumber parties, it wasn't my mom that got up and cooked for us or did little things. It was my dad. And my dad could cook. Like Dr. Felice said, my dad could cook. And those girls would, I just remember my friends, because not all of them had fathers. And so I just remembered how intrigued they were, right? Like, yo, your dad got up and made us waffles, sausage, pancakes, bacon, da 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 da, and they going on and on. And I was like, yeah, and I had to learn too that that was something I was taking for granted, and not everybody else had that. So it made me all the more appreciative of my dad. And for a while, my dad, because of his job, was on the road a lot. So when he did come home, it was that extra attention. My dad also was the dad that would not only cook, but he knew what it was like to pick up a vacuum cleaner. He knew what it was like to run clothes to the cleaner so that my mom didn't have to do it. So I saw the best of both worlds. And I always say I had the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I think somebody had a question for Dominique. Dominique, when you had I'm sorry, Dominique had a question for Renee. Renee, when you gave your son over to his father, did you take summers? Did you like how did you guys structure your schedule?
For that period of time, for 3 months, he started calling me, Mom, I'm sorry. So, I totally just let go and let him, take care of him. He was 13, 14 years old, so you figure it out. And so interesting though, he finished college. He got his, I got a college degree and all this other stuff, and in the house. And guess what? Hey, he was at his father's. He from San Diego. Had him drove with $20 in his pocket, drove down to Oakland. But guess what? Now he's a better person. I appreciate my job. Thank you so much. You see what I'm saying? So, you have to, it hurt. I can tell you that because I was like, he's my best friend. We kind of homies. We talk, but then I had to clamp. And that was the first time that I really did that. And, I was hurt, but you know what? I'm glad that I did it. You have to take those sacrifices and do that for your children.
Yeah, yeah.
Because you know what? The police will go clamp, clamp. So why not? I do it now.
Yeah, you make the sacrifice because we want our children, and actually Renee and Dr. Angeline made me just think about like in my own experience, like my daughter is a daddy's girl. And so sometimes, just like some weeks, like it'll be my week, and she'll be like, "I just want to stay at dad's for an extra time." I'd be like, "Why? Why? Why do you want to stay over there? Listen, it's my week. I want to spend time with you." She'd be like, "Mom, I don't know. I just want to stay with dad." And so sometimes, actually, as a matter of fact, this week has been one of those weeks where she's like, I'm like, "You want me to pick you up today?" She was like, "No." I was like, Okay. All right. You know, but I have to like, I mean, and it hurts your feelings. I mean, it hurts my feelings. Like sometimes I'm like, dang, man. We just had an amazing weekend. I just took you, you know, we went and saw Vicki Lawrence this weekend, y'all, and we had the greatest time. And she was like, okay, can you take me back to my dad's? I was like, after all of that, you want to go back to your dad's house? You know, so I think that it goes to show like a good man can have really like a dynamic effect on their children, like regardless. So, you know, I have to sometimes give it up and just be grateful for that.
Can I
Right.
say
So,
something real quick?
yes, please.
Also, when you think about that time away from your children, like I have a daughter that's in college, that is preparing you because the kids leave you. My daughter doesn't always call me, and you know, it makes you sad, but you're preparing yourself because the way things go is kids, you raise them, they're there for a period of time and then they're gone, you know. And I had to think about it, like when I was in college, I wasn't calling home all the time, so I had to step back and say, this is a part of life. And then after college, like now she has a boyfriend, and at first she wasn't talking about getting married and having kids, and now she's possibly gonna get married and have kids. And when she comes home, she spends time with her boyfriend because they're long distance. So then you have another separation. So even with these times with them being with their father, it's also preparing us because the way things go is they leave. You know, they're not going to be with us forever. Do they come back? Do they still love us? They still love us. They still have a relationship with you because you created that when they were younger. And so in my mind, as my children grew up, I valued the time with them. I valued the memories. I valued the things that I did because I knew that eventually they're going to leave. My daughter is gone. You know, she's away at school. I see her every blue moon. So those moments with their dad allows you to prepare yourself for them to leave because they're gonna probably go away to college. They're gonna move out your house. And then what are you gonna do? You know, so just look at it like that. It is sad, but it also shows one that the children are healthy, that they have a good father that wants to be with them and they want to be with their father. And now fathers, you know, and I'm not discrediting women. I'm not. But I know that I wouldn't be the woman I am today if it was not for my father, right? He had this way of being able, you know, to nurture us and, you know, give us that emotional stuff. And he was like, at the time, he was like the only dad around. He was like the neighborhood dad, the block dad. He took us to extracurricular activities. He took us away to college. I boo-hoo cried, he boo-hoo cried, but he said, you going in here. He changed my life. He did. There's nothing in the world that I can't do. And he would tell me, like, even if you mess up, like, failure is when you quit. Do you plan on quitting? I'm like, no, I'm not going to quit. Well, you're not a failure. Let's get back up. It's something that daddies do for children. And to not allow your child to be with the father does the child a disservice, but also letting them go gives you an opportunity to get used to the fact that eventually they're going to leave.
Can I piggyback on that?
I don't like it. Go ahead.
Well, first of all, your daughter has options that a lot of other girls just don't experience. And the fact that your daughter has options around love, like that's bountiful, right? Like that's abundance in this essence. But to piggyback, like, you know, that's one of the platforms that I always say, it's natural for women, but there's something about a man's love that is transformative. And if we could get our men to understand their power when it's rooted in love and what it does, not just for family, but for society, when you got Black men showing up in love, it is truly life-changing and transformative. And so I think it's beautiful when men show up in their fullness, especially when it comes to love. Like it's nothing like it. And it really is life-changing. And I'm serious. I think that's the key. I think that is the key for us when our men show up in the power of their love.
Can I say something also? Like, it's biologically is proven that when women talk to kids or to, you know, there's like our voice, but when a man say, hey, then they're like, you know, so what you're saying is just there's that authoritative voice of a man. It works on the adults, kids, everybody. When a man speaks, that vibratory force, and it don't have to be like mean, but it's still that voice that's commanding, and it settles people down.
Yeah, I agree. And you like you wanted to say something, Dr. Angeline.
Yeah, I just want to give a shout out too, because I'm seeing a lot of young men stepping up and taking responsibility, young black men, excuse me, and taking
Yes.
responsibility for their children. And we as women, sometimes we got to learn how to fall back and let a man be a man, let a brother be a brother, let a dad be a dad, and handle it. Because sometimes women, with the truth is told, we get a little emotional, and
Mhm.
sometimes we just need to fall back and let that black man do what he's doing. And I think even with this, us talking about this, right? How many men now are letting the women go to work and they staying home and watching the children, right? So it's a whole transformative process that we are also watching and experiencing. So I agree with everything the queens are saying, but I also agree that sometimes we need to fall back and stop trying to run everything and let them do what they need to do. Even if they make a mistake, we all make mistakes. We all going to learn through this together.
Yeah. One thing that I noticed is that, especially with there's something about this generation, and these are the parts that I love about the internet, where you see dads showing up, you see dads doing their baby's hair, you see them like talking and having these conversations in the car with their children, and they go viral. It's a statistic that black men are the most present, regardless of what television shows us and what movies get green light here in Hollywood. Black men are actually showing up. They're not being the guys on the corner. It's so interesting. I think us coming out of the 80s, with the everything that was happening and with our parents and all of that. I think it just made us want to be better, right? And give our children what we didn't have. There's a cycle, I think, that I can see being broken in real time. Like, we listen to our children a lot more. And I'm just say men and women. I think parents deciding like we're going to listen to our children. We're going to let them speak. It's not, a child is to be seen, not heard. We allow them to express themselves. My daughter, we'll get in the car. She'll be like, "Oh, I just got to tell you the tea," and proceed to tell me about her day, in a way that it's like, even if she was like, and then I was pissed off, I'd be like, "Well, then what happened?" Or if someday she gets upset, and maybe we're talking and it feels disrespectful, because it's like, if I would have said that to my mother or my grandmother, she would have like pulled the tongue out of my mouth, right? But I let her have it, right? I let her have those moments. So I think, just in general, black families are really stepping up, men and women, to the plate, and just parenting differently. Do you guys agree with that before I go to the next video? I think, just in general, I'm just seeing a shift
Well, it
happening.
goes with each generation gets weaker and wiser. So they're a whole lot wiser. Like, I look at my granddaughter and I'm like, I know you've been here 3 times before. You know what I mean?
So different. They're different.
It's so different. They're so
Mhm.
wise.
Mhm.
And that's just, y'all, I'm spiritual, but that is just the beauty of God, right? Like, he's always making sure, he's got a remnant, that there's always going to be some hope for us. And it's in our generations. Like, there's a hope. And I'm so excited about these generations coming to pass. And I'm so excited about my generation getting it right. Like, we might have dropped the baton, but we're picking it back up. And we're like, okay, where do we fill in those gaps to make sure that wiser generations are able to come around full circle? So I'm so excited.
Yeah.
And
All
someone
right.
in the comments just said the most present father is one who is in the home with the mom and kids. Ideally, yes, but that's not going to always be
That's
the
not
case.
true.
So what is the next best thing to make sure that this child is okay? Somebody has to take primary responsibility for this child, right? And so if you're not in position, and you feel like it's in the best interest, or again, when I talk about boys, there's a certain point where that boy, I'm gonna nurture him, right? But I'm not right. I can raise a man, but not a way a man can raise a man. I don't know what they experience. I can't teach him how to change tires. He's like, my son is bigger than me. He towers over me. You get what I'm saying? And he's a gentle giant, but still, that boy needs his father to become a man. And we also have to separate emotions, right? A person can be a horrible spouse and a great father. Two things can be the same at once. And we have to separate that, because when you have your feelings involved in terms of that, you mess up the child. I recently had a conversation with my mom, and I'm like, I don't know the dynamics of you and my father. I was too young, right? I said, but you picked a good daddy for us, and you should be proud of the daddy that you picked, regardless of what happened between you and him. He was a good daddy to us, and you should be proud of yourself. And so we have to change our mindsets. Yes, ideally, we want to be in a home with our children, mothers and fathers, but that's not going to always be reality. So after that, what is the next best thing for this child to be productive, to be the best that they can be? And if it means that going with the father is that option, that's where they should go. And it's okay.
Yeah, I just want to add to that, and I'm gonna go to this video because I keep saying I'm gonna go to the video. But you know, I happen to live an existence right now of where like I said, I co-parent. We do 7 days on, 7 days off. As I've said earlier, some days she'd be like, I want to stay with dad. Some days she'd be like, I want to stay with mom. But her dad is calling her during school, texting her, how's your day going, baby? So even when he's at our house, he whenever he's at this house, because she's home is both places, but when she's here, he's like, oh, I'm gonna just stop by and bring Lauren some food. She says she's hungry. I'm gonna stop and bring her some flowers because I'm gonna stop and bring, like, Lauren, you know, she just doesn't, her dad doesn't miss a beat. And I really I'm telling y'all, I appreciate it. Like, she's like, oh, my dad's calling. Like, her dad calls throughout the day, all day, every day. I'd be like, oh my God, we're trying to have a conversation. He'd be like, what y'all talking about? You know, if it's a family matter, he'll come over and we'll just have a conversation here, and we'll talk about what's best for Lauren. Like, it's just, you can be present, and we don't have to be together for all that. Like, you know, it's good. Like, it's good. I don't ever feel like he's too far away. He gonna stop through. He gonna pick her up. He gonna drop her off. So I just think that there's a way, and it really, I'm gonna say, my baby daddy has mastered like how to still stay present without living in our home. And so I appreciate that. Let's go to the next video, y'all, because you know, I got we didn't talk all the yes.
So I am now in my second week of being a mother who have given her kids to their father. And I am reflecting on this journey over the past 2 weeks. I'm a nurse. I am a mother of 4 children. My 2 older kids one is an adult, the other one is almost an adult. And I have a 7-year-old and a 5-year-old. And it is and was very hard for me to be able to maintain a nurse's schedule and to kind of just do all of the things as a mother for all of these children in different age brackets. So I decided to give the kids to their father, their youngest 2 kids to their father. So anywho, I am on week 2 of being a mother who is the non-custodial parent. And I will say that I am less stressed. I have more time to think about the things that I need to do to successfully set us up for the future. And I don't regret it at all. I don't. I miss my babies, yes. But in 2 weeks, we are going on a cruise. We will be gone for 10 days, and they are going to have a mother who is there, who is intentional, who has the mental capacity to take care of them, and who can love on them without the stresses of, how am I going to do this? How am I going to do that? How am I going to pay this? How am I going to pay that? They are going to be able to have a mother who is refreshed mentally and physically. So to all of the moms who are out there, like, I just have to be that custodial parent. If you have a father who is ready, willing, and able, girl, give that man his kids.
Yeah. Yeah. Listen, give that man his kids. Give that man his kids. Felice, what do you think about what she's saying?
I think it's true. And if we think about it as women, I remember when I was a single parent, I was always stressed, like probably anxious. There was a lot of moments where I was having some serious mental health moments because I was doing it all by myself. And so it would have been nice to have a baby daddy who was like, it would have been so nice for my mental health. You know what I mean? And so to even, so I'm listening you talk about your baby's daddy, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that would have been beautiful. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
just from our overall mental
Yeah.
well-being.
Yeah.
And I was also taking on the stress of her not having that as a role in her life. Like the fact that I knew that she was totally missing out on some possibly beautiful moments with her father. And so that was just a lot for one person to have to deal with for all those years. And so, women, just for your mental well being, if there's a man who's saying, I'm able, willing, and wanting to take on a lot of that, let them, and free yourself to be the person you can be, a healthier version of you for your child, like what that means for them too. That would have been beautiful.
Yeah, I just wanna, and I'm coming to you, Renee. So just because I want to know, but because Anonymous said that I should have married my baby daddy, and I affectionately call him baby daddy, y'all. It's not for sure he's a father, and all of the things. There's no disrespect here when it comes to that. But I think that there's something to be said about being able to have the 7 days on, 7 days off, and being able to rest and being able to think and run a business. There's no way I would have been able to run a business in the way that I do had I not had that time to like recalibrate and sit and think. It's quiet. I don't have to run off to acting classes and dance classes. I don't have to be the only one shouldering all of those things. It's like, oh, you got it? Okay, well, I'm sit here and work on an offer for my new clients or whatever, right? And over the years, that's been the dynamic where I'm able to think. And, he said something about me needing to marry. I don't think that's always the answer. Just because he's a good man, he can be a good man. Let me help you understand something. Because you sound a little young sometimes. Sometimes you can have a relationship with somebody, and it doesn't need to be romantic. I happen to have met him when I was 25 years old. We had a baby a couple years after that, and and I realized then that I was like, okay, this may be not forever, because the way he is with me is not the way he is with her. And so it's not the same dynamic. So we can just co-parent peacefully, and I have to have the romantic part of that. Like, we can, like, two adults come together and be like, this is what we're going to do for the kid, and that's really all that matters. It doesn't have to be romantic. I don't got to be wanting to be with nobody. My baby will be 15 on Sunday. So it's home stretch, baby. Ain't no need for me to go and add that man to my house. We did it. We did it. So you don't have to have both. Renee, did you find yourself stressed? Did you feel the stress of like did you have to do all of the things? And were you stressed out?
Absolutely, very stressed. I was, uh, real quick. I know this is when he was just born, and this has to do with postpartum. Uh, he would cry and cry and cry, and I didn't have anyone in the household, and it was just so. It can be dangerous. That's all I can say for
Yes.
you and for the baby.
Yes.
So just saying that it's very important to have a community. If it's not the father, but hopefully it is the father. But yes, I was extremely stressed, thinking about how I'm going to get him through, and food and all of that stuff. Taking care of him by myself for the most part. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's stressful. We do. We see women shooting the kids and shooting themselves. And I mean, I remember that story a couple of weeks ago, as a matter of fact, or a couple of months. There was a mother that was like leaving like these cryptic messages on her Facebook statuses, like, I tried my best, I've given everything I got, but I'm tired of living. And sure enough, she unalived herself. And I think sometimes that is, she had like 3 or 4 children, and so it's not enough to be like, well, you shouldn't have had them kids. It we have to have we just have to understand and see the holistic, like the view of it all. Like, it's not one thing or another. Dominique, what do you think about that? Like, I love what Renee just said about it being dangerous.
And thank you for saying that, because I had one, so I can understand she had three.
Yes. Oh
Okay.
my God. Listen, Dominique.
So
Listen.
I'm one of three. And so my mother had us all, and my mother had her own dynamics going on where she wasn't able to connect with us at some point. I just connected. Like my mother was part of my life, but she wasn't able to connect with us emotionally, and then there were other dynamics that played into that. My mother, her biological mother died when she was 3. She didn't have the capacity. And it is dangerous, because I was the oldest. And so a lot of responsibilities fell on me, which they shouldn't have when I was with my mother, right? And because my mother, and no shade to her, she wanted to maintain this control. There were multiple things that you could have allowed him before he got custody. So my dad was fighting for custody forever. Like, he would spend all his money. He stayed in the courthouse because he knew that it was in the best interest. And my mother finally decided to give us up. But I feel like it's unsafe for children it's unsafe, it's unhealthy for children to stay in these environments where the mother does not have the capacity. And I'm going to keep saying that because it does more damage to the children than help them. And so we try to hold on because we got a fear of what people have to stay. And that's why people have to change their mindset and change. Stop saying that something has to be wrong. Maybe she just doesn't have the capacity and it's okay, right? But this father has the capacity to do what he needs to do to raise the children. Maybe he has a more stable home, right? Maybe, he's married and him and his wife are able to take it in. Maybe the finances are better, whatever the case may be. We're not saying that the mother is not going to be a part of the child's life at all. What we're saying is primarily the person that can care for this child is the father, and it's okay. And we have to start having these conversations, and people have to start thinking like, this is not a bad thing, and it doesn't make me a bad person. It doesn't make me a bad mother. It actually makes me a good mother. And at the end of the day, the kids are going to love you regardless, as long as you stay involved. But even when the mothers don't stay involved and the fathers don't stay involved, the kids still love these parents unconditionally. Kids are abused by parents, and the parents still love them unconditionally. So you letting them go somewhere where it's safe and they're loved, it's better for them. Mothers be overwhelmed. They're frustrated, they're yelling at the kids all the time. The kids have anxiety, the mother has anxiety. How is that benefiting the child? It's not. And so it's just not a safe space. And it's not even right for people to make mothers feel as if you let your child go. How you let your child go? What? Because that was in the best interest. And more women need to start standing up and defending these women when these conversations are had, because don't make them feel bad for making the best decision for their children.
Yeah, I love
and
that.
the courts always say that they're for the best interest of the child when they're making decisions. So
the best interest of the child. Dr. Angeline, what do you think about all of this based on your experience, based on what you know to be true?
So I may not have had children in the natural, but I raised 3. So, and that was family's kids, right? And some of them, the mom wasn't showing up. Some of them, the dad wasn't showing up. So I do understand working full time, coming home, having to have those conversations, having to pick people up from school, having to pick this one up and drop this one off, having to have dinner, having to teach how to cook, having to, all of these things. And so, as it has been stated all throughout, whoever is the best person that has that capacity, as Dominique kept enforcing, I say go with it. The only thing I will say though is, just make sure you at least call, make sure you at least come by something. Because what I did see and still do see in the kids that I help raise now is this level of the children feeling abandoned, right? So that conversation has to be had as well, no matter who has the child. We also have to make sure that we're not speaking negatively of the other parent to the child, because of all that affects and effects the child, and all that mental bondage that child and trauma may be coming up out of. So I've seen everything that we're talking about here and have experienced it as well. Yes.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And I get it. Listen, I know you have to leave early. You got clients on a Wednesday, Dr. Felice. So if you want to give your final thoughts before I go to a final video, do our woman's history fact, and then get up out of here. Do you have anything to say before you go?
Well, I think that it's really it's really a good sign of where we're going, where we can evolve and include men on a level that we've always had women sitting in. And that there are good men out here who have the ability to raise good citizens. Let that sit with us. Like, we got some good men out here. And so for all of us, this should be a hope and a sign that we are able, for the best interest of a child, to have a man be at the helm. Like, that is exciting to know. And so I'm gonna leave on that note that this is exciting. And let's keep this going, man. So I hope, I mean, seriously, and Tiara, like, yeah, ma'am, shout it from the rooftops that you got a good baby daddy.
Wow.
Like, that's huge, you know. So kudos to your daughter for growing up with love, period.
Yeah.
That's exciting. So I'm gonna leave y'all on that note. I am Felice Hightower-Britt, the Be Big Coach. This was some good conversation. I'm so glad I was a part of it. So you can go and you can find me on Instagram, on Facebook as the Be Big Coach, also Real Talk with Felice, and my website, www.thebebigcoach.com. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us. All right, y'all. So it's home stretch. I do have one last video. I'm gonna go to one last video. We're gonna do final thoughts, and we're going to celebrate a woman because it's Woman History Month. Okay, so let's do this last video. I thought it was important for us to get a male's perspective on when a woman comes to him and says, "Yo, I need you to take this baby. Like, I need you to have her. I need you to take this baby, or have him take this baby." And let's see what he says.
Update. So apparently my BM is finally ready to give me my son. She's been raising him for the past 10 years now, and we've been co-parenting, but now she wants me to take him for the next 10 years, which is fine. You know what I mean? Because this kind of was like a plan. I kind of expected this to happen at some point. I kind of knew she was eventually going to be like tired, frustrated, and she's not going to want to continue to do the whole, you know, parent thing for long. And I was going to have to eventually raise him for the remainder of his life. So after this school semester, he's going to be transferring schools to me. He's in New York with his mom's right now. I'm in New Hampshire. And we feel like he'll get a better education out here anyway. So he's going to transfer and come live with me, and I'm going to be taking care of him, which is fine because, again, I feel like out here is a little bit better as far as education is concerned. And I feel like it's good. You know, him coming out here, I could definitely teach him a lot in this area. You know what I'm saying? How to be a man. There's a lot of different advantages I have over here that he can definitely would help him out a lot, you know? So I'm not looking for a handout or anything like that. But if y'all want to support me, if you help me out, you won't leave empty-handed. Just go to my page, go to the Shopify link. I have t-shirts that I sell from my brand. Y'all can go ahead and get a t-shirt, man. Go get a t-shirt. You know what I'm saying? That little help would be much appreciative. You know, and definitely will help me out a lot to get myself together for what I got to do and what I got to prepare for the next couple months or so. So I'll be back with a new update.
You know, it's so funny though, just the way he says it, like he gonna come and live with me for, 10 years, so I knew I was gonna have to take care of him for the rest of his life. I'm like, what, I just think it's interesting. He doesn't seem stressed out he doesn't seem stressed. He's like, I can probably help him and make, his life better here in New Hampshire. Y'all, what do you think? Real quick responses to that video. Real quick responses before we head out. What do you think about that, Dominique?
I mean, I think it's good. I think that if the child, again, it's a boy, and I'm not saying it, one way or the other, right? But I do really feel like a man can raise a man, right? He knows what they're going to experience. He's about to go into his teenage years. Sometimes these boys are going to buck up. They get bigger than the mother. They're going to buck up against the mother. And if he's in position to raise his child, and she's ready, let him go. I'm standing 10 toes down.
On capacity, right?
It's all right to let that child go live with their dad. It doesn't make her a bad mother. She's just doing what she feels is in the best interest of her child. And I applaud any woman that does that, because the child benefits at the end of the day. The child benefits.
Yeah. Does anyone want to add anything to that before I move on and we do final thoughts? Any other thoughts on the video? We good? We good. We good. All right, y'all. It's Women's History Month. And I want to celebrate a Black pioneer as always. I feel like I want to do this for the rest of the year. So every month I'm gonna be like, it's Black, yeah, whatever, right? Like every month. I've been when we came out of Black History Month, I was like, I like that, And we went. I was like, ooh, it's Women's History Month. I think June is like Women Music Month. Listen, we celebrating all Black people around here all year. So let's do that. Today we are learning about Mary Ellen Pleasant. She was a Black businesswoman and entrepreneur in the 1800s who built a fortune in San Francisco through investments, boarding houses, and business ventures. At the height of her success, she was estimated to be worth $30 million in today's monetary measures, and used her wealth to support the abolitionist movement and fund legal challenges against segregation. So let me just introduce you. Look her up, Mary Ellen Pleasant. Shout out to our ancestors. They was holding it down. Listen, I feel like our ancestors crawled. They did all of the things. They worked so that we could have the privileges that we have today. I mean, shout out to our ancestors, the women, the men that came before us. We absolutely love you. All right, let's round this conversation out with our final thoughts. Ladies, if you could be brief, because we are over our time, 45 seconds or less. And give me your final thoughts. So I'll start with you, Dr. Angeline. What are your final thoughts around this topic?
So first of all, I just want to say I love that Black 24/7, 365, 12 months out the year. And April is actually International Black Women's Month. I just learned.
Ooh, thank
So
you.
yes.
Okay. Okay.
So I love this conversation. I love hearing from all the queens on here because you are just that queens. We said it. It's been said. If you don't, it's nothing wrong. If one parent can parent better than the other parent, let the baby go. It's always in the interest of the child. So I think this conversation we wrapped up real nice on here today. I am Dr. Angeline Dean, CEO of the Melanated Neurons Communiverse, a identity affirming STEAM and STEM box subscription for children 7 through 12. And I can be reached on my website, www.intersystems with a Z on the end, .rocks. See you soon.
I love it. Make sure that you go and check out that box. You should actually send us a box so we can like do a little opening here and do it and review it, and so people can see it, right? Because I think what'll help is like, see, this is what our box is, and so if you do that,
Yes.
then maybe people will understand because it's a lot of words. It's a
Yes.
lot of words to this communiverse, and so I
Yes.
just want people
It's
to
a lot to it
understand.
too.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, and there's a lot in there, so I
Yes.
want people to really, really understand it.
Okay.
Okay. All right. We're
Thank
gonna
you.
do it.
Mhm.
You're welcome. Dominique, what are your thoughts? I know you said a lot of things, sis. You've given us a lot to think about today. What are your final thoughts around this?
So I'm going to say that I'm a product of somebody being raised by their father, and I think that we have to have more conversations around this, and we have to stop making people feel bad. Just because one person, it's just like a father not being the primary or the custodial parent. He sees the child every other weekend. Mothers can do the same thing. If they feel like they don't have the capacity, we have to not make people feel bad for not having the capacity to be a full-time parent at that moment. And it's okay. So again, having these conversations and changing the narrative about, parenting, it's in the best interest of the child. That's it. That's all. I can keep going on and on because this is a topic that's near and dear to my heart, because I got an opportunity to experience it. And again, I am who I am today because I had a man that stood up for me, that protected me, that provided for me, that showed up for me, that supported me, that loved me unconditionally. So allow that child to have that same opportunity. So again, I'm Dominique Morgan. I'm the co-founder of the Whitmore Group, where we exist to educate, empower, and equip individuals and businesses to build wealth through real estate. We can help you purchase throughout the United States. And if you are interested in following us, you can go to all social media platforms at the Whitmore Group, and you go to our website at thewhitmoregroup.com.
Thewhitmoregroup.com. Check her out, y'all. Renee, what do you say?
Thank you. Well, what I was going to say is that a lot of fathers don't think that they can get custody or they don't know how to get custody. And if they, because the society make them feel that they don't have rights, but you do have rights. And if you feel that you can step in and be more an advantage to your children, please challenge that. Because again, the courts rule to the best interest of the child. So, with that, we have to get this double standard. This conversation shows about the double standards that we put on a society as mothers and fathers. And I'm glad we are seeing that the younger generation is challenging that. And so, wake up and, go out there and get your kids, take care of them. I'm Renee Williams on that. I'm Renee Williams, Tricycle Sync. Please go to Tricycle Sync. About 70% of us women report that they're not being heard by doctors. We're 3 times more likely to die from pregnancy complications, and it's time for care that actually sees us. Your voice, your health is finally heard through our app. It's an AI-powered cycle optimization, menopause, and maternal equity in one app to help turn Black women's symptoms into stories and receipts. That's clear and that you have a voice with your doctors. Our mission is for safety and self-advocacy. So try it out. Go to trycyclesync.com.
Trycyclesync.com.
Try it.
Try it. Come on, just try it. Try it. All right. Well, Queens, thank you so much for joining this conversation with me. As always, I appreciate your voice, your thoughts, and perspectives. I love a good perspective. I think conversation rules the nation. Y'all know I love a good story and storytelling. So, narrative is very important to me, especially around the Black community. So here's what I think. When I think about my own journey, I was raised by community. I was raised by my grandmother. I've lived with aunts. I've lived with cousins. I've lived, right? But it wasn't until I got into a home with my uncle who was a pastor and a really talented musician, and just living in his house and him saying, all right, well, what you're gonna do is you're gonna get in this church, you're gonna sing some praise and worship, you're gonna sing on the praise and worship team, you're gonna join the choir, you're gonna get into, I was creative, and so he noticed that like drama was a thing, or performance was a thing. He was like, all right, well, let's do this. Like, he was the one, I feel like, watching and paying attention. And the way that I see my I'm gonna say Montel, not my baby daddy, but the way I see Montel paying attention to Lauren is the way that he was paying attention to me. Like, he was the one that was sitting and be like, you're really good at this. You really have a beautiful voice. You should sing. And he sang. So he was the one that brought me a keyboard. And he was the one that really just gave me that reassurance that like my creative me as a creative was I was when I was creative, I was at my best. And as you can see, I live a completely creative life to this day just because of those few years that I lived with him. And so he was. So what all the queens are saying is absolutely true. So thank God that I was able to find someone that is like that for Lauren. All right, so I shout out to him. My name is Tiara Williams. I'm also known as Miss Black Hollywood and Karma J. It just depends on the day. If you are looking for me, I am at Miss Black Hollywood across all platforms. Y'all, I just want to tell y'all what we got going on at the Fly Nubian Money Club this week. I am doing a first tomorrow. Rise is doing a masterclass about 5 questions you should ask about life insurance before it's too late with Aisha Verzi. If you are interested, I do not have the link, but if you text Queens to 87948, I'll make sure that I get it out to you. I wish I can pull it right at this moment, but I cannot. But if you want it, I'll give it to you tomorrow for sure. But I just want you to know that this is happening. So Rise Masterclass is happening with Aisha Verzi on Saturday. March 14th, I am also we're hosting at the Fly Nubian Money Club, brilliant, but still at the same level. Why smart women, I'm going to say, and men plateau in business. So Dr. Lene will be teaching us and leading us through a strategy session, which I absolutely love. So if you are interested, again, you want to text Queen to 87948, because I don't have the links right at this moment. Y'all know I'd be like organized, but I don't have the links on me right now to pull, but I will give them to you tomorrow. So come back tomorrow because I have the links for you. I'll pin them in our chat. This has been an amazing conversation. I think it's so important that we understand that parenting decisions after divorce are rarely simple, and social media only is a small part of the story. Situations like this raise real questions about responsibility, expectations, and how we react when family roles change. What matters most is the decisions that we make that affect the children for the better. For the better. It's all about the best interest of the child. And as long as we can keep our Black children at the helm, at the space of most importance, I think that that's all that matters. You guys stay blessed today. We appreciate you for coming. I want to shout out all the people that usually come: Anonymous, Double A, B1, Deborah will win, Dennis Spraggins. I mean, I can go on and on. We appreciate y'all. We love y'all. Thank y'all for being just supporters of our platform. We appreciate you. And we'll see y'all tomorrow. So come back, same time, same